players and coaches in front of the cameras and mics today at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, and all of them are getting questions about the magnitude of the game Saturday against Michigan. And one guy, I think, obviously, was the most honest about it. It was the last guy we talked to. It was Denzel Burke. And, Stephen, you and I were there in Michigan Stadium in 2021. Denzel Burke looked like the person who least wanted to be in that stadium that day. He was miserable, just miserable. And it only got more miserable as that game went on because Michigan obviously ended up pulling away and winning fairly comfortably. He sort of was representing a lot of third-year, fourth-year guys who are probably playing this game for the last time. They know they have one last shot at winning this, but his motivation, at least from what he said today, extends beyond that.
Yeah, the first thing I asked him was just being in that environment, and what did you learn about that environment, and did it was it more than you maybe were expecting it to be? And he was like, yeah, there's a lot I didn't know, and a lot I had to learn about that rivalry. This is a kid from Arizona who had never probably even played in the snow or even played in a game even close to what that was. And he clearly looked like a fish out of water in that moment. And his emotions have always kind of been on his sleeve, so it's felt like he spent the last 3 years, whether it was dealing with injuries or not having the second year he maybe wanted to have, getting back to this point. And he got asked a question, and he said, I'm really emotional right now, and I'm trying to hold back. So then I push back and I go, so what's fueling that? What's fueling that emotion? And he gave probably one of the best sound bites we've gotten from anybody today. I'm not just doing it for myself. I'm doing it for my teammates. I'm doing it for Ohio State fans and on down the line there. But he's one of the few players on this team who played a meaningful role in that 2021 loss, and especially from that 2021 class. And now he gets a chance to go back, and you can see that he's trying his hardest to not say anything disrespectful. I think he even got asked, does he respect Michigan? And he said no as well. He just didn't say any actual words while saying his no. But it's clear this is a chance for him to not only get redemption for himself, but there's a lot of emotion going into this game, and Denzel Burke has kind of become the face of that because he's the only one who was in any way honest about how he's feeling about things.
There is going to be a lot of emotion in this game on both sides because Michigan now, with everything that's gone on there, now they sort of feel like they have to win this game to validate the wins that they had the past 2 years in a lot of people's minds. And this is a week where I think for guys who are 19, 20, 21 years old to have to harness this emotion and to use this emotion the right way is going to be important. And Denzel Burke seemed to be a guy who is maybe doing that, and that maybe that can be something. He is a guy who is a catalyst for this defense. People can take their cues from him. They have all season. It's one of the reasons why this defense has improved. I think he could maybe have that effect on this team.
Yeah, one of the things that kind of struck me the way that he answered that respect question was somebody asked him about, hey, do you, the coaches are one thing, do you respect the players? And there was a laugh in there. There was a little bit of a chuckle in there, and he was kind of thinking, you could see him look up and kind of think of the way to answer that. So with Denzel, you do kind of get the mentality from him that as an older player, you kind of understand what it means. There are so many players on this team, and we've talked about this, and players talked about this today, that have not beaten Michigan because they didn't play in COVID year. 21-22, they lost. So the last time Ohio State beat Michigan was 2019. And you're talking about guys that have not been here. There have been players that have come through this program that never beat Michigan. One time they never played them, and they almost certainly would have won that game, but they never played them, or they never played them, or they never won. And that's a big deal. And I think you could start to see the evolution of this, right? It's happening with me. We had people coming up to me, hey, Andrew, first Ohio State-Michigan game, you ready for it? So imagine what these guys are going through, right? Imagine the way that you have, like you were saying, a kid from Arizona, a kid who has not grown up in this, and now you could very well see the left side of his brain telling him, shut up, don't say anything, and the right side of his brain saying, let Michigan have it. It's really emotional this week, and we're Tuesday at 2:30 right now, and the game's not till Saturday. So it's a big deal for these guys, and the older players, even the ones who have not beaten Michigan, have to be the one to kind of lead by example on Saturday.
It's a big clash because the same thing is going to be going on the Michigan side, just the mirror image of it. You think J.J. McCarthy doesn't want to be able to leave if he leaves after this year and say, I beat Ohio State 3 out of 3 times. There's guys at Michigan who have a different kind of motivation that's aligned along the same sort of spectrum, right? And I think that's one of the fascinating things about this game. We're going to be talking about all aspects of this game all week on Buckeye Talk. Get that wherever you can find podcasts, and get the text 614-350-3315. That 2-week free trial takes you all the way through the game, takes you through the Big Ten Championship game if necessary for Ohio State, and on towards whatever they do for the postseason.